This week on Hermitcraft.
I have just returned home from Boston, from Minecon Earth. We ordered a whole bunch of chicken wings. We ordered baby back ribs. We ordered fries. We ordered burgers.
Nothing in comparison to Mumbo. He eats so much. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And Mumbo Jumbo had a massive steak. It was quite a ridiculous feast. I ate everything in sight. All of the hermits were incredibly impressed at the quantity of food I managed to consume while I was in Boston.
I don't know what they expected. The guy is a living spoon. Welcome to the Hermitcraft Recap. My name is Pixel Riffs, our writer is Zloy XP, and last time we checked, it's October. The telltale signs are your local Azumas going red and falling off trees, and Jevin starving half of himself to consume less during hibernation. To help his fellow hermits through the long nights of fall, Xisumavoid has started a new competition for them. Throughout October, the tab screen of the server will show the number of phantoms each player has shot out of the sky. Whoever has the most by the end of the month wins a chest full of goodies from the living pumpkin himself. Xisuma also promised to add something of value to the winnings in every single episode he records this month, which by now is already a nether star and a stack of diamonds. So that's why you'll see Impulse pulling an all-nighter and Cleo shouting at the sky more than usual. And with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week.
I got a hit! I didn't get ahead. What?
Starting with Jevin and his own Halloween minigame, although this one might not last till the actual day. Like Iskall's before him, Jevin has devised a nice little place for people to visit and potentially leave with some goodies. You pay an entry fee, then pick up some pumpkins and the things found beneath them. Originally, it was named Diamond Diggers in honor of 9 diamond blocks hidden under all that squash, but his fanbase was quick to point out that it's basically just hermit graves all over again. Welsknight was quick to point out that the game was mathematically flawed.
Here's the thing, right? So there are 9 diamond blocks. Touch that. For 1 diamond, you can harvest 6 pumpkins. I think I can just harvest this entire pumpkin patch for far less than the amount of diamonds. There is a fatal flaw in your business plan, Jevin.
Realizing he could look underneath the pumpkins thanks to nearby farmland and path blocks, Wells spent only 4 diamonds and came away with 8 diamond blocks. A nice easy way of recouping the stack or so of diamonds he'd just spent at Azuma's kelp block shop getting a near lifetime supply of fuel for his recently built super smelter. And it's a good thing too, because his glass shop needs restocking with a few shulkers worth of glass. Jevin's bank balance hasn't been too hurt by this miscalculation, and he goes on a shopping spree, throwing even more diamonds at his fellow hermits. But this recreational spending ends on a sour note when Jevin discovers Tango's new iron shop, called Ethical Iron just to further stab him in the heart, and with the prices per ingot in it being adjusted to be exactly twice lower than the ones in Rusty's store, Jevin has no choice than to go out of business. Which is not too terrible, as he himself might start undercutting Mumbo in the slime business, Jevin's slime farm being basically completed. On top of that, during one of his Saturday special extra long episodes, he finds a triple cave spider spawner and promptly domesticates it, making it basically the second most efficient best wool farm on the server. What's the first one, I hear you ask? Well, we don't actually have any data to back this up, but our hunch is it's the one that uses actual sheep. What those sheep are doing in space and how they even got there is a bigger mystery, to which the short answer is Xisumavoid. Using a slime block flying machine, Xisuma shuttles himself and 2 choice rams over to the outer end in the hopes that this will reduce lag caused by their pathfinding, or at least limit it to when these chunks are loaded intentionally for an AFK shearing session. The ice from last week's farms is used in the building of a skyscraper around Azuma's cactus farm, and yes, this is unmistakably a skyscraper, the design being influenced by, if not directly copied from, Scarlandia of Season 5. Thankfully, X is drawing inspiration from Scar and not Iskall, because that's how you end up with a mustachioed cactus. The aforementioned Swede is back from Minecon and continues work on his underworld castle. Buying out the wartiest third of Zedaf's Quartz, Warts and Shorts shop, he starts detailing the walls with netherwart block and builds an organic ring of magma blocks to blend it in with the lava lake. But this is Iskall, and he can't resist putting faces on things. 4 faces, in this case, 1 on each side of a giant ghast rising from the centre of the keep. But this is no ordinary ghast. Made of black and grey concrete instead of grey and white, Iskall dubs it a dark ghast. We think it's just going through a goth phase instead of the usual emo. Grian is on the exact opposite of the concrete colour spectrum, choosing to use the white kind, and lots of it. The towers of his base being prolonged to the build limit is one thing, but the future pranks are completely another. By filling out a 128 by 128 area with white stuff, Grian wants to make a purely white map, one not abiding by the rules of lighting. By placing said map on every surface of a room, he wants to simulate the Matrix-like effect of being surrounded by nothingness, or perhaps pretending your GPU has been drinking. What's worse, it occurs to him that this could be used to make a labyrinth of nothing but white walls, and if that's not a campfire horror story, I don't know what is. In yet another example of the Hermitcraft hive mind in action, Doc M has exactly the same idea at exactly the same time, although he doesn't feel like placing 17,000 blocks of material, so he just flies out over the void in the end with a map in one hand and fireworks in the other. The result is a grey map Doc uses as a sensory deprivation chamber, and at one point a green screen studio.
Amazing, let's fly through space. Yeah! Clears your mind.
Do it!
You're getting hypnotized already?
Just do it!
So yeah, check it out. Sensory deprivation, my friend.
The innovations continue when, with some behind-the-scenes help from the Redstone Door community and his friends from Psycraft, he installs the fanciest vault door you've ever seen at the stock exchange, followed by a working cabin elevator that even goes ding when you've reached your floor. Rendog is impressed. So much so that he puts in a ton of effort and a buttload of quartz into rebuilding the entire facade so it's symmetrical and aligned with the interior. The walls and balcony of the stock exchange also get the quartz treatment, and eventually he and Doc will install a note block bell they can ring at their grand opening. When he's not spending time in the stocks, Ren continues to tinker with the layout of the Hermitcraft rail network, plotting out the routes of railway lines and which builds they have to go over, under, or through to reach their respective stations. Scar and Cubfan's undercut shop, meanwhile, avoids the whole thing and arrives by ship, delivering a literal boatload of logs to the shore of the commercial district. This build is all Scar so far, and he even dives into armor standing again, seeking to redeem himself after the Cherry Computers fiasco.
I think we'll be doing okay for now, as long as Statue Scar gives me back my sword. How did you get my sword in the first place? And now I'm taking your shirt. Okay, that's not how you do this.
It is his second most impressive build this week, seeing as how the mini biomes of the terraforming shop are now complete, a beautiful Asian-inspired mountain topped with cherry trees being the last one. With how amazing all 4 of the biomes are, it's no wonder the customers are already lining up. At the time of the build, Cub is still en route from Minecon, and after it, he's too busy making a goose chase for false symmetry. At one point, he might have blown up a part of her property, and now, in retribution, decided to stretch his Cub questing muscles.
Okay, so we owe her one hillside because there may or may not have been a practical joke played on her during a stream, which may or may not have involved me rigging 4 diamond ore blocks to blow up when she mined them.
The trial run includes a Cave of Wonders that's only open for 2 minutes per day, and a cute cabin in the woods with actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf living in it. But before she embarks on the quest to avenge her hillside, False opens a brand new shop in the commercial district. Residing in an oversized pixel art shulker, with the top shell built wrong mind you, is a shulker box shop like no other. This one will be reselling shulker cases people left behind, lost, or didn't take enough care of. So basically this business will be powered entirely by her following Scar around for a day. PythonGB is not exactly happy with this development either, especially since his own shulkerbox shop is responsible for making him pretty freaking rich. After taking some time off to move house, he returns to the server to find his entire stock gone, give or take some of the pre-dyed boxes, and takes off to the end to collect some more shells. With that taken care of, he spends some time decorating the shopping district riverbank so it doesn't feel quite so out of place next to Scar's expert terraforming, and returns to his modern base project to install the first house and an ornamental fountain. Stress Monster has also been restocking after making a cool profit from her ice shop. A little concerned that she might wear her favourite pickaxe down to the handle, she decides to make a couple of backups, but when she's unable to find an Efficiency 4 book at Biffa's bookshop, she ends up buying one that might have been display only.
Let's put it there.
Let's see if we can get away with it.
Returning to the iceberg fort, she switches to stone brick and builds a whole new wing of the structure with a view out over nothing in particular, but she plans to change that too, so watch this space. There's no word from Biffa about whether that particular book was actually for sale, but he's got his hands full exploring a woodland mansion this week. Having never actually set foot in axe murdering country before, this voyage of discovery takes him halfway around the house before he looks up what on earth illagers do and realizes he'd be better off trapping the Vindicators instead of killing them. The obvious solution is to make a train set in the corridor and distract them that way, and to his credit, it kind of works. Although he has to make a giant wooden platform so he can get up and over this bizarre carousel of death, he traps a few of them and takes out the evokers to score his first ever Totems of Undying.
Pro tip, just use a bot. They're easier to place and fit 2 Vindicator in them.
Impulse SV has been getting so many crops from the Illager's more normal cousins that his main project this week is creating a shulker box loader to stop the potato chests from getting quite so backed up. He even installs a trash mechanism for the poison potatoes and overflow protection, so at least his food waste gets disposed of responsibly. Thankfully, the cargo transportation is about to get much more convenient with the arrival of actual crew members on his merchant ship. In reality, it's still frozen in place, but at least it looks nice, thanks to Zombie Cleo and her armor stand bending ability. She delivers on the order Impulse placed last week and provides the ship with stick people carrying stuff around. This time she even incorporates actual functional chests into the diorama, making it just a bit more interactive than your average run-of-the-mill statue. We'd also cover her beef with Doc M's donkey boats, but that would require us to point out that mules are sterile, and even if she somehow managed to breed 2 animals, both of whom are in boats, which you can't, the baby animal probably wouldn't be born with a tiny boat attached to its feet. But we're not that pedantic. Neither is Joe Hills, who sees the enormous derp mall Impulse and Tango have built in his basement and says, "Oh hey, who built this awesome back entrance to my Halloween shop?"
Done. I was gonna light it up, but look, there's already pumpkins. We're ahead of schedule. There was no schedule.
This means technically Joe is the first person to set up shop in the derp mall, although it's a pop-up shop. You literally pop up in his pumpkin patch. Joe rushes to finish the remainder of the Halloween shop with some creative direction by his daughter.
Anything else you want to say to Good Times with Scar?
Sorry, he is so good to watch.
Do you want to say Good Times with Scar? This is Joe's daughter, Corinne.
I will ABC on the knee to the babies. ABC, sing with me.
And spends the next episode chilling and writing stories while waiting for the first customers to arrive. Customers keep arriving at Mumbo's base, although they're more interested in sticking tridents in him than actually buying anything. In between figuring out that Riptide isn't actually meant for attacking things, and fortuning all the quartz he can find, Mumbo remodels his kelp smelter into something a little less overkill. It still sticks out like a sore thumb though, so he conceals the whole thing in a pearly white modern build, then hops into creative to design a futuristic cover for the kelp farm. If his base wasn't looking enough like a soap commercial already, this thing looks like a space-age bathroom tap. TFC gets into the spirit of the season of spooks by venturing outside only to watch phantoms burn in the daylight. The rest of his time is spent digging out residential areas for Vault 6 and working on the material disposal system, a shaft that leads down from every level straight into a hopper, so anytime he digs out a new area he can just drop all the cobblestone directly into his storage system. He also asks us to pass the recap tag onto Tango Tech, which we had already done 2 days before he released the video, so apparently the Hermitcraft hive mind has even reached this humble fan channel. And this humble fan channel has reached Tango Tech. No, really, we got in touch behind the scenes to ask who he wants us to recap tag, and his response might have something to do with the state he found his base in when he came back to it this week.
Oh no! What the heck?
First, there's the prank left for him by iJevin, the one condemning his methods of golem slaughter.
It's the ultimate prank, the box.
And then there's the main base being slowly but surely filled back in as if Dig My Bits never happened. These are the efforts of Zedaf, who did not get to participate in the original competition and is now trying to force another one of those to happen by filling the base cavity back in with the very same blocks that were originally dug out. Even more so, Zed has been nudging the rest of Hermitkind to do the same for the common good. which is perhaps why Tango chose him to be this week's victim of Recap Tag. Zedaf wants the bits, people, so let's give him those bits right in the comments section of his video that we've linked in the iCards. Comment BIT, and we'll see how many he has by the next time he visits his channel. And that's just about it for this week's recap. Our writer is Zloy XP, and my name is Pixel Riffs. This week, Zloy is getting in the Halloween spirit and almost managed to avoid pranking anyone for about 5 minutes. If you want to see what he did after that, his latest video is linked in the end cards. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.